LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and so forth. So those who can see us now, welcome everyone to our first webinar we are having today with Radha from the Web3 Foundation and with Tim from the Polkadot Blockchain Academy. So welcome everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. So I would say let's start by a quick intro round, and then we can jump right into the different topics we want to learn about today. Shortly about myself, I'm Arno. I'm one of the co-founders of the DC Institute. Those who don't know the DC Institute, we are a professional society of blockchain and digital asset practitioners. So somehow we want to represent the interests of the people working in that space and also allow them to signify their knowledge by earning a DC designation. Something you might know as the CFA or the Kaya designation in the finance world. With DC, you can earn a professional designation as well and enter our society for different benefits. Now, we also have, obviously, the Web3 Foundation as a member organization, and the call and the purpose now here is really to learn about the different activities, the different funding opportunities for the ones who have a more entrepreneurial interest and entrepreneurial path ahead of them, as well as training opportunities for those who would like to get up to speed with Polkadot and related technologies. So maybe I pass over the word now to Radha, who I know best. Tim, I'm getting to know you after this session here. So Radha, tell us who you are.
Sure. Very glad to be part of this webinar and be a member of DC Institute. So I'm the technical education lead at Web3 Foundation. I work closely with education initiatives like Polkadot Blockchain Academy. We do have like our own education programs, and Arno, that we collaborate with you as well in developing course content for the DEC MOOCs. So yeah, very much involved with the Polkadot ecosystem in general, and mainly the education initiatives.
All right. Thanks, Radha. Tim, what about you?
Yeah, hey, so my name's Tim. I am a director over at the Polkadot Blockchain Academy. Been working in this industry sector since 2016. Previously, I was at Parity, the main contributor to Polkadot from a development perspective. And before that, I worked at a VC called Polychain Capital. But nowadays, I work full-time at the Polkadot Blockchain Academy. My role is to attract the right students, select the right students, and then help our graduates to find their way in the Polkadot ecosystem once the academy is complete. So that's my current work. Also investor relations stuff as well.
Okay, interesting, cool. Tim, thank you very much. Just by the way, because you mentioned Parity, maybe that's not a question that was part of the webinar that we agreed on. Is it possible to get an overview of structural changes you had, with people now working for different companies that apply for funding? So it's not everyone anymore at Parity. Is it possible to get is that public information to get a better idea of how you guys are structured now with the different organizations and so forth?
Well, Radha, did you have? Is this part of what you're going to say?
Yes, or exactly. So I do have like all the info related to that. But yeah, so broadly, we have decentralized our operations, so we try to, if we are pioneering like decentralized tech, from inside, we have to be decentralized as well. So it doesn't work like having like single point of contact for everything. We're going to go into those details very shortly, but overall, like rather than Web3 Foundation writing a check just to Parity, now we have like several entities where, which are sort of funded, and as you'll see, there's been a huge positive response about this initiative. In fact, Polkadot Blockchain Academy is also, independent entity right now. So So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff happening in the ecosystem. I'm happy to share it with you in this session.
Got it. All right, cool. So that means like that every organization needs to ask for funding independently for their initiatives they're doing. Is that correct? Or
sort of like, I mean, I can just get started with the presentation actually, if we want to set the tone.
okay, I didn't know that was part of that. No. So let's go step by step then. Let's go step by step, rather. I will first we first talk about general entrepreneurship and how your ecosystem can help entrepreneurs, and then we go into such details. Apologies for jumping too quickly.
Sounds good. And that's why this webinar is relevant, because we're going to show the kind of funding opportunities people have in the ecosystem. You know, the diverse range of funding opportunities.
Okay, cool. So let me go to the first question: entrepreneurship. So. For me, as an entrepreneur, it's, let's put it that way, to make a case study, right? It is difficult to navigate that space to understand, you know, how can different layer ones or how can Polkadot support me as an entrepreneur to overcome my challenges, so to say, right? I might have challenges which are related to technology. I might have challenges related to my economics if I'm having a token model designed, or I might have challenges in a more legal and regulatory aspect, you know, of different natures, right? So how can, you know, the Polkadot Blockchain Academy support me to overcome those challenges? And do you have examples of that?
Yeah, so it's really hard to build a business, right? And especially with an emerging technology. There are various methods that people are gaining education around this subject at the moment, but I think the PBA occupies like its own little space. So, you know, there are degree courses emerging, sure, and then there are boot camps. We're somewhere in the middle, right? We're academic in nature. We teach the underlying principles of why blockchain exists today. So, economics, game theory, cryptography, those sorts of things. We introduce people to those anyway. But we also have the people that are actually building this technology teach this course, right? So it's super up to date, super relevant to the real world and to our technology in particular. So we aim to demystify an entrepreneur's or a budding entrepreneur's mind around you know, how you can actually start to consume block space or core time on Polkadot, right? Using this 1 month in-person course, which we have designed and have now executed 4 times, which we can go more into in a minute. But
yeah. I'd like to add on top of that. Actually, we in Polkadot Blockchain Academy, we have 2 tracks. So one is the developer track, where people who enroll to it, they learn programming, and, you know, they're very familiar with the technical stack of like Polkadot. And then there's founders track. So the founders track is more towards like, you know, ideating and sort of coming up with this business model. And the great part of PBA is that the first week it's dedicated purely for token. I mean, it's not tokenomics, it's about the economics and the incentives of like blockchains in general. So that gives them a really solid foundation to refine their idea, and then, you know, see how the business model works on a blockchain framework. So yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Let's go maybe into before we go too much in the program itself. We have one topic that we wanted to discuss up front and that we mentioned also at the beginning now of the webinar, which is funding opportunities. So, you know, funding or raising funds as an entrepreneur generally, you know, has been mainly driven, you know, through venture capitals, accelerators, angel investors. Yeah, so these kind of typical entrepreneurial funding pathways. Now, you know, with the emergence of, you know, blockchain, we have obviously different organizations and foundations supporting, you know, ventures that are building and supporting building the ecosystem and applications and so forth. So how does those funding opportunities look like now at Polkadot? Maybe rather you can give us also maybe a presentation on that
Yeah, so
how
I'll
this.
let Tim answer because he's also doing the investor relations with PBA, and then I'll get into my formal presentation.
Okay, got it.
Sure thing. Yeah, look, I mean, so there are diverse ways to get funded within Polkadot, and Rada's going to talk about a lot of kind of the less newer stuff that's going on. But if you come to the PBA and you're a student at the PBA, well, you will get a chance to interact with the more traditional VCs and family offices, etc., that invest in this space. So, for example, when we just held the latest edition of the PBA in Hong Kong in January, we had 15 investors come to watch our students do a pitch day. So those kind of investment opportunities do exist in Polkadot. The investors are watching, they are listening, they are interested, they are deploying capital. But there's more than just that, right? And so Rada will go into the next bit.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, exactly. So so the first thing is the Web3 Foundation, right? This is where the project has been bootstrapped, and then we did the fundraiser, for the whole Polkadot ecosystem to sustain. So yeah, definitely, like, we are one of the key drivers of the ecosystem. So we provide funding through grants. So we have a grants program for someone who's technical and then who's trying to create a proof of concept for the idea that they have. That's the first step. So if you're a technical entrepreneur, you prove that your technology sort of works, because this everything we are doing is so in a way this is like a cutting edge technology, right? So nobody the point being, like, you prove your idea with a grant from Web3 Foundation, and then that gives you access to the broader ecosystem. So that gives you some sort of credibility. Web3 Foundation grants program has thorough review process. Everything is transparent. It's available on GitHub. So you'll see all the funding rounds that we had like previously. And yeah, so that's the first step. And then we also do plenty of like blockchain research. We do a lot of advocacy. So in terms of regulatory clarity, Web3 Foundation has been pioneering this front. We have provided a lot of regulatory clarity around like Polkadot in general. And we also do a lot of education. So my team is responsible for that. And we have heavy emphasis on open source tech stack, right? So the next thing I want to talk about is, education initiatives. It's not just Web3 Foundation. Tim here is leading Polkadot Blockchain Academy. So we also partner with a lot of universities. So the first one was at University of Cambridge. Second one was at Buenos Aires, UC Berkeley, in Hong Kong University, and now the next one is going to be in Singapore. So we have these programs going on to train people on the technology stack, and also create entrepreneurs or successful businesses out of this. So what Web3 Foundation started, to further the decentralization efforts, is this Decentralized Futures program. And the idea is that this got rolled out in November, and the idea was to give out funding to entities that are economically sustainable, rather than just giving grants where people just work on the grant and then move away. We like to encourage entities that are already economically sound to be involved in the Polkadot technology stack, right? So for that, we are bootstrapping this program with about $40 million right now. That's 20 million in cash and 5 million in DOT to start with. And also, it's not the only funding opportunity available. We also have like the treasury. So the treasury has like 41 million DOT, which is about, I don't know, the DOT price of like $7. We have around $250 million in the treasury as well. And that treasury money, it can be accessed through our OpenGov, which is like the governance model. So you can see there's a lot of discussion within like Polkadot governance. This is on-chain treasury. Web3 Foundation doesn't have much to do with it, So this is also one more funding option that people are looking at, and you can see there are many tracks here: big spender, medium spender. So depending on the program, you are able to sort of apply to the respective funding track. And
just for
PBA,
me to understand here, rather, just to jump in here shortly, for those ones on the call, who are not too familiar with submitting applications, on to layer ones. So there are projects that are supporting the technology provided by the organization, and there are projects that are trying to build something on top of it, right? So what's the target application audience here, between the program you mentioned and the one that you just showed? Is it more about supporting in continuing building Polkadot and making it work better, or is it more about industry use cases and different applications being built on top of Polkadot that have nothing to do with the underlying stack and technology?
Yeah, great question. So the decentralized futures program itself, it's for driving Polkadot success, right? So Web3 Foundation is very focused on steering like Polkadot's like success. So here our focus with the decentralized futures program is to bootstrap that. Like in the next 1 year, we have this timeline. We have received a lot of applications, and then we are reviewing them, and then we've already announced 10 organizations that are going to receive funding. So the applications close in June, and the program itself will end this December. And we don't know if we are going to renew this again, but this should actually bootstrap the activity in the ecosystem, for those organizations to thrive. So for the people who are attending this webinar, I would see them mostly, if they were to come to Web3 Foundation and they have like a idea for with a technical idea that they want to test on Polkadot technology stack, we have the grants program for that, which they could apply to. And also, Tim can explain more. If they are really interested in building on Polkadot, they should definitely consider attending the Blockchain Academy, which is like this 5-week program that gets them access to pretty much who is who in the Polkadot ecosystem. And they're able to test their idea there. And it's also followed by, a lot of like VCs who would like to learn more about like what they're doing. And it's like a direct connection that's going to happen through PBA there. So I think that's more relevant for the audience here. But if they already are familiar with Polkadot stack, they can apply for Web3 Foundation Decentralized Futures program.
Okay, understood. So it's a more guided, more accelerator-like learning and building through the academy, versus if you are a serious engineer or builder, then you can go straight into the decentralized futures program you mentioned by the Web3 Foundation.
Yeah, and also the Polkadot treasury, right? Like there is about $300 million there, and then you could also go there. There are different tiers there. If you want $1,000, you apply in a certain track. If you want like $1 million, you apply in a different track. Like so we have a booming, economical incentive programs like in every front. Even for infrastructure and tooling, you're able to get the funding from the treasury.
Got it.
And I can give you an example of that. Well, the Polkadot Blockchain Academy itself is now a treasury-funded initiative, right? So whereas we used to be part of Parity, we were the first of the teams to split off from Parity, decentralize, and become our own entity in the Polkadot ecosystem. So we submit proposals 3 times a year to fund the PBA's activities to create some hundreds of graduates every year.
Got it. And that's you said through the treasury fund.
That's through treasury proposals, yes.
Okay.
We're also submitting, I think it's a decentralized futures proposal for what is going to be the online version of our course, which is going to start off with a developer track second half of this year. For the majority of our funding comes through directly from the treasury. which we have to win, the vote of the community to have the funds released to us.
Maybe for our audience, interesting to know also, how does that work? The voting from the community. Do you have some? What's your experience with that? When you were with the submitting the proposal for the academy.
Yeah, it's a fun process. It's the baying mob is waiting to pounce on bad proposals, right? And if we submit a sort of a 10-page document with outlining our plan as an academy team, you submit it for discussion for a few days, take a hammering from the voters out there, and then justify yourself with a bunch of to and fro. That's all very public on the forum, on Poke Assembly, as Sharad is showing now. And then you submit for voting, and then conversation continues right through. But the voting period runs for close to a month, and you have to get a certain level of majority at a certain period to have the funds then released to you. It's like 20 days later, I think it is. So you can see the this is the last academy proposal. We ended up with a 97.8% approval rating, which is great. There are some whales in there that approve of us and support us. That helps. But yeah, you can see how the voting curve works on that voting details pane on the bottom right of the screen. It's fun and games. It's but a lot of from the last time I looked, quite a few proposals are passing. Right, the money is getting dished out to the ecosystem teams that want to build stuff.
Great. Cool.
Yeah, we
cool
have
stuff.
one of the most sophisticated on-chain governance process out there, and it's working. A lot of teams are paying attention to it. A lot of recent Polkadot, headlines are made out of treasury-funded initiatives. So it's a good time to sort of explore funding opportunities here. Yeah.
So let me put that straight. If I'm joining the Polkadot Blockchain Academy, I will probably get to know those whales who will then, if I have a good idea, approve that proposal in one or the other way. Is that something, an assumption which is...
The academy, like the learning opportunity of the Polkadot Blockchain Academy is amazing, and particularly because it's an in-person course, right? You sit with 100 blockchain heads and teachers and ecosystem participants for a month and learn about this technology, right? And Polkadot specifically. We have significant actors within the Polkadot ecosystem that come down to the academy to contribute in some way. Generally, often it's delivering some content or talking one-on-one to our students. There's if you come to the PBA, you will leave with a network of if you put the right effort into it, you'll leave with a network that you need to then go on and to succeed within Polkadot if you have the right idea.
And there's also the alumni network. Each cohort, the 4 cohorts are now together in one room, and there's a lot of networking that happens there. And most of the people who come here, they dedicate 5 weeks of their life here. So they're not like just there for like hobby. So they're really seriously into the technology. They relate to Web3 vision, and that's why they're sort of attending this program. So it's a very quality group to be associated with. And I'm one of the alumni too. I went to UC Berkeley for Polkadot Blockchain Academy.
We have about 300 alumni now, all in the Discord server, and we've recently kind of relaunched the alumni program within Discord and with its own website, etc., to put a load more effort into it. And we're going to be including the more advanced parachain teams in there that are hiring. For example, they're going to be putting up messages when they want to hire someone for whatever type of position. And then we're also going to have investors within this alumni community as well, who are there to help continue to educate projects around their idea, etc. And also they'll be there looking to invest. So
got it.
It's a really coming to the PBA and sitting through this course is really just the start. The alumni program is super important to us, and It's where we're going to really show that we've been successful in the courses that we run.
Cool, great stuff. Cool. All right, maybe we can go a little bit more into the academy or the program itself. Maybe we have a focus on the more entrepreneurial path rather that you mentioned. As we have, most candidates from DC are coming from traditional finance, but also they are either working for one of the big blockchain firms or advisory firms consulting those blockchain companies. So for them, how does that program look like in terms of learning outcomes? What can they expect?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, look, as I think I mentioned earlier, the course is academic in nature. We're not. The aim is not to just be a boot camp and just teach you a few Polkadot things and send you off into the ecosystem. We're trying to arm people that enroll into the PBA. We're trying to arm them with real knowledge around the fundamentals of why blockchain came to be, right? So it's a syllabus originally devised by Gav, our founder, Gavin Wood, and so it starts off with economics, game theory. If you click onto if you scroll up a little bit and click onto the founders track tab there, look, then that goes into the modules for the founders track. Although it's always evolving, so it might not be fully up to date. But so we start off with the underlying principles, and then we go more into an intro to blockchain itself, and then further into Polkadot specifically, and then a load of the Polkadot specific ecosystem stuff as well. But on top of that, just picking out some things here. So where are we? We talk about community growth, fundraising, pitching, writing a light paper, cap tables, tokenomics, legal stuff, lots of legal stuff. We kind of overdo that bit. Product market fit, smart contracts, and more. Right. So
got it.
It's
very. Tim, so this is very. I guess this is very hands-on and related to launching a project, right? I mean, the legal stuff probably is more around launching a venture. Rather than discussing regulatory uncertainties between the SEC and some other regulator, right?
Actually, it's a bit of both. But yeah, the Q&A sessions rapidly turn into okay, what do I need to do to avoid any kind of pitfalls, right? But often the presentations will start off with some wider world, say we're in Hong Kong, right? And so then there's some element of the presentation talks specifically about Hong Kong and the region and why to set up there, for example. And then when we go to Singapore, I'm sure whoever comes to teach in Singapore will want to talk about why people should set up in Singapore. So yeah, it's really a bit of both, pretty rounded.
Got it. All right. So then let's get a step further. Let us have a feeling of what type of founders projects, just so that the candidates understand, to whom they compete with, what's the level of depth such projects go into technically. Do you have an example of an average founders track project, which is then being perceived positively by the big whales?
So, I mean, it's really varied is the main headline, right? And actually, one thing I want to state very clearly right now is that actually you don't need a project if you want to come and be a part of the founders track. Fundamentally, our priority one is to find really bright people who are interested in this space and they know they want to build something. They don't necessarily know what it is yet. Right? So we can take people from really early, right? And help arm them with the knowledge that they need to then go away and dream up a really good business idea. Our idea is if we bring really bright people into the room and take them from that stage, we're going to end up with better results. Having said that, there are lots of projects that came to Hong Kong. We ended up with 36 of them pitching, I think, but it's really everything from moonshot, adoption ideas through to widgets to help people build substrate, so I haven't given you any specifics there, but I just wanted to paint a picture that
I have a few.
Yeah, you please go for it, Rada. But yeah, we go from really, really early stage, like beyond early, and we also have a real variety. But yeah, Rada, please go into some specifics.
Yeah, so a lot of people come to the academy. They learn about, like, how Polkadot technology stack works, and then they have these ideas to cater to the ecosystem. And they've started out with the latest thing that we are doing, which is like core time. It's about, like, you have a blockchain. Most of the blockchains, they're ghost chains. There's not much activity that happens in it. You keep just adding like blocks to it.
Yeah.
And Polkadot is sort of making it efficient in a way that you only produce block when you have some activity on your network. So that's going to save a lot on your storage costs, uh, and this is what we do with like this core time model and what we call elastic scaling. So let's say you're having a 5 million NFTs that you're airdropping, then you can elastically scale your blockchain network by asking those resources. So we have like 2 projects that from PBA alumni who are sort of building this. So it's Elastic and RegionX. So these are 2 projects that understood the Polkadot tech stack, found like a business opportunity, and made the first move to sort of create solution for that, right? So
Got it.
and not just that, like, I think Tim has you've shared some progress with the community as well, like in the past 3 cohorts, like what they achieved within the ecosystem and outside the ecosystem. And that was like one of the points that Tim shared with the community, showing that the PBAs should be funded further. So that's how they are going to operate. Like, they're getting the funding from Treasury. So we also like prove the effectiveness of the program and be like the alumni to be successful.
Got it. What about the typical or the ideal candidate? What are some of those, or do you have some requirements, when people are applying, or just for people to understand, is it worthwhile for them to apply or not? If you have some, strict rules of exclusion, or,
I'll talk briefly about developer track first, and then we'll talk more in depth about the founders track. Developer track, we're not an engineering course, and we're not a Rust course. And bear in mind that Polkadot is built mainly with Rust. So we need people to be developers already, and they need to know enough Rust to get through the Rust entrance exam. You can use the Rust entrance exam to learn Rust, right? To the point where you can get through. But yeah, we're just looking for bright engineers who are interested in this technology at any stage of their career. So that'll be a summary of the developer track. Founders, yeah, look, we're trying to be as inclusive as possible, really. We want really bright people. That's the number one thing. People that are genuinely interested in this technology and decentralization. And as I said before, you don't need a project yet to get access to this course. You're going to need to convince us that you're like keen and smart and motivated to do something, right, with your application. So we're not worried about geography, where someone comes from, or anything like that, right? Or even their background. If you can convince us that you're the right guy or girl for this course, then that's it.
Got it. And the application process is mainly submitting something, or do you also have interviews then with those people, or?
Yeah, so there is an application process. If you go to the Polkadot Blockchain Academy website now, you can see that applications are live for the next course, which is going to be in Singapore, May 20th to June 20th. Yeah, everyone will be interviewed before they get given a place on this course. It's worth noting probably at this point, the course is free, right? So we put everyone in a hotel for the month. We feed everyone half board, and the course costs themselves are covered by, well, the Treasury. So every time we bring someone into this course, we're basically making a bet. Like, it's a $20,000 bet. Is this person likely to come and create value within the Polkadot ecosystem if they sit through this course? So every application, we are looking at it from a holistic point of view, right? And just trying to figure out if this person is worth a bet. So that's what you've got to convince us of.
Got it. And if people hold a DEC stamp on their CV, I guess then they're a step closer to that.
Yeah.
All right. Then thank you very much. Let's quickly check the tool here if we have some questions from the audience. A part of some people here saying hi and congratulating us on advancing the industry and the professionalism. We have here one question from Jonathan Klicksberg. Are funding opportunities only available for projects pre-development? What is the recommended path for projects which are already post-MVP and other chains, but would be interested in joining the Polkadot ecosystem?
Brad, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the, so if they've proved already themselves in other ecosystems, they have this business case, and then they want to do something with like Polkadot.
Correct. They have, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, so there are two ways to go about it. One is through like the foundation parity business development route, where, they're going to establish the right contacts with who they have to be partnering with or collaborating with. Or you could also directly go to the community. You can create this proposal from the treasury, get the funds that you need to even like integrate that, or so there's two parts for this thing, if you'd like to enter the ecosystem with your idea. And
am I right in saying, rather, that really for really early stage stuff, use decentralized futures and perhaps the grants program, and once you've then proven out your idea and you're building and you have an MVP, for example, that's perhaps when you go into a more traditional VC type scenario.
All right, cool. I think we covered most of the questions. There are many people obviously saying, that the people should sign up for the Polkadot Blockchain Academy, etc. But otherwise, I think we covered most of the other questions that were asked already.
Oh no, it's an interesting one about personal qualities and characteristics to be successful in the PBA. That's a really interesting one. Some people struggle with getting through the Polkadot Blockchain Academy, right? It's really intense. It's 5 weeks, like beyond full time, right? You need to be able to put down whatever else you're doing if you come to the PBA to focus completely 100% on it. There's a lot of classroom time, full-time classroom time, and then assignments and socializing, partying, all that sort of stuff as well. So it's really full on. So you need to be, I guess, robust generally if you're going to come and succeed at the PBA. And the classroom environment needs to suit you realistically, right? You need to be able to sit through listening to a lot of people presenting their stuff, and then turning that into learning in your light papers that you produce, or your pitch decks or whatever else. So
got it. So the deliverables or the outcome is mostly developing concepts, or light papers, architectures, some very simple MVPs if you have technical skills.
Yep.
And then you submit them, and then I guess overnight they're going to be reviewed. The next day you discuss them, or what's the typical?
Yeah, lots of feedback from people like Rada and myself and investors, etc. So yeah, the idea is that we're creating this kind of an iterative feedback loop throughout the whole course to help you iterate on your idea, or to throw it away and start a new one partway through, which quite often happens. But yeah, we're there to help people prove out their ideas if they already have one for a business. Or to help people. So if someone has a pretty solid business idea already, to help them get it into Polkadot, right? To show people the way. We introduce so many subjects, concepts, and Polkadot specific things within the course. The idea is that it's giving people a foundation and contacts within everything they need to then go and really learn it better once they're in the Polkadot ecosystem and building.
Okay, cool. I mean, we have other questions here about the founders track, but we covered that already. So apologies. Next time maybe join earlier. But I guess on the website there are all the details about that founders track, and I guess you also have some kind of AMAs or Q&As you're organizing for interested candidates. Let me see. Maybe an open call to the listeners. Are there any other questions? Please use the chat function here in the tool. We are here to answer them. Let's just wait a few seconds to see if something's coming in.
There's an alumni in the chat
Yeah,
as well.
Christian. Hey, Christian. How are
Hi,
you?
Christian.
So Christian is developing. I mean, the AI has taken over the world right now in a way. So Christian is sort of working on creating this AI-assisted Polkadot development toolkit. Training the GitHub Copilot to sort of thing to help Polkadot developers build better apps. So, and I had the opportunity to interact with Christian in Hong Kong cohort.
All right, we have one question here, which I do not fully understand. Is DeepL a part of your decentralized roadmap? Are you able to provide an answer on that?
Yeah, so Deepin, we've had a couple of Deepin projects. For those of you who don't know what Deepin is, it's like decentralized like infrastructure,
Okay.
sort of like an Internet of Things kind of area. So there's a huge interest in that field, at least in the Hong Kong cohort that we did last month. There were a couple of projects that sort of highlighted this. They even won the hackathon. Like we had like a winter Polkadot hackathon. So one of the teams like won a prize in that as well.
They also raised capital from a VC during the PBA.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
And also there was a project about creating this enterprise grade multisigs because as you can see with governance, a lot of capital is being given out in a decentralized way on Polkadot. So people are finding opportunities like that and then creating the right product, which is again like funded by the treasury itself. So
yeah, that's an interesting point. Like part of the advantage of coming to the PBA and sitting through it is that you may spot a gap in Polkadot somewhere that you could fill with your skill set, right, and build something that really needs to be built. There's lots of things in Polkadot that don't exist yet, right, that need to exist in the future. So the Academy is great for helping people figure that bit out as well.
Okay, awesome. I think we covered most of the discussion points we wanted to have here. Are there any last words you want to make? Last recommendations? Last
Come to
thoughts
Singapore.
you want to share?
Applications are open until the 23rd of Feb. We, as I said before, we will be on campus at the National University of Singapore, 23rd of Feb. Sorry, from 20th of May to 20th of June. As I said, the course is free. If you get selected, all you have to do is basically buy your own flight to get to Singapore, unless you already live there. So we'll put you up in a hotel. We'll pay for most of your food. We'll pay for the course itself, all of our own costs, as it were. This is Polkadot's investment in people to seed the Polkadot ecosystem with the fresh brains that it's going to need to succeed in the future, right? This is originally Gavin Wood's idea, and it's been a real success so far. Singapore is going to be the 5th iteration of the course. We're going to have a full developer track, and we're going to have a full founders track. We're also going to be piloting our first in tandem remote developer track as well for developers to join remotely who can't be there in person. So yeah, we're always evolving what we're doing. The idea is that we evolve as fast as Polkadot evolves. But it's a really good opportunity to come and learn from the people that are actually doing this stuff. Right? Yeah, it's a really powerful tool.
All right, Radha, anything else you want to add?
Sure. So I just posted a link to the Polkadot forum. So that's where all the discussion is sort of happening. For those of you who already have ideas or projects in other ecosystems, and then you're trying to see where you can enter Polkadot ecosystem, the forum is like a great place for you to like explore. and see what people are actually thinking or discussing within the ecosystem. And yeah, check out our on-chain treasury, check out our governance, see how it works. There's an opportunity there. And if you'd like to work closely with the foundation, and we have channels for that as well. So grants program is one avenue where you could explore for funding small projects where you want to test out a proof of concept. You have an idea that worked in other ecosystem. You're trying to see if it works within Polkadot as well. So we can seed you with a grant so that you can create the proof of concept, go to the VCs, get the funding, and then get it going.
Understood. All right, cool. So maybe just in case someone wants to meet you in person, where are you hanging out in the next 4 weeks? Is there any travel insights for our people who dialed in?
Okay, so right now I'm in the US, so I'll be back in Switzerland next week. I'll be in India as well in the upcoming week. So we're going to be there. Tim is also a great traveler. I guess he's been in Hong Kong, and now soon he's going to go to Singapore to host the cohort there.
Well, also, actually, it's good that you say that. We have Sub-Zero in Bangkok, which is a Polkadot specific kind of developer-ish oriented conference. 12th and 13th of March, I'll be there. So if anyone's planning on turning out to that, come find me. I'll talk at you about the PBA until sunrise. So.
All right.
Yeah, actually, there's a question in the chat I just noticed. So ETH Denver, we have a couple of really good people from Polkadot attending there. So we're going to have a booth as well. Actually, I also vouched for PBA to have a presence there, but they're just taking a breather after the Hong Kong cohort. So you can meet Bill Labun, who's my boss. So he does education and governance initiatives. So he has a talk on March 1st, but he'll also available. He will also be available in the booth. We have my colleague who is also a technical educator. He's giving 3 talks throughout ETH Denver, starting from 23rd. So yeah, definitely you can meet people there. We have our own flagship event, Sub-Zero, which is the developer conference in March. So this is going to be in Bangkok. It's about around March 11th to 12th. So, and then we have Polkadot Decoded, which will be coinciding with the ETHCC in Brussels. And this will be in July. So I'll be there, and most of us will be there to sort of network with you all.
Cool. Thank you very much, Radha. Thank you very much, Tim. It has been a pleasure learning from you about the different opportunities within the Polkadot ecosystem. So I hope we will see applications coming in also from some DC charter holders who want to always stay at the forefront of knowledge and expertise, and who potentially want to also try a more entrepreneurial path with full gas on, 5 weeks intensive training with Polkadot experts. So I wish you a very nice day and good travels back, Radha. Tim, hopefully I'll see you in Singapore soon, and it was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.